Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope you are all good. Um, After the lesson on persecution faced by Holy Prophet ﷺ, today we are going to talk on the persecutions or the difficulties faced by the followers of Holy Prophet ﷺ, or you can call the early converts of Islam. We will start the lesson with the past paper questions. Now, there are a variety of questions on this topic. I have taken these two of them to focus. Now, these are all past paper questions, okay? Describe the persecution faced by the first Muslims in Makkah. Now, how this question is phrased, that by the first Muslims, that means the early converts in Makkah. B part, what can Muslims in modern times learn from these persecutions? Like today, modern times means what the Muslims of today learn from these persecutions. Another question on the same topic is, give an account of the difficulties faced by the early Muslim community in Makkah. Now, the word is used as early Muslim community. That means the newly converts of Islam, they formed one community. So basically, the question is the same. B part, drawing from this account, what advice could be given to modern Muslims now living in fear of persecution? So that means here we are going to compare the persecution, the reaction of the early converts, how they reacted, whether they give up their religion Islam or were they determined, and how it is a lesson for today's Muslims living in a non-Muslim country where they are being persecuted. Okay, so we are moving to the A part, knowledge part. Just give me a second. Okay. Now, the Muslims of pure Arab blood, they were subject to torture and maltreatment from the Quraysh. The uncle of, let me start from here. After Prophet ﷺ started preaching, he and his followers were the subject of continuous torture and persecutions. Now, enticed by the Quraysh, every tribe and class started to persecute their Muslim members to dissuade them from their faith. Now, the Quraysh were trying to pump everyone, even those who were not aware that they have got some Muslims around them. They pushed them, they pressed them that you should persecute them. Okay. So Umayyah ibn Khalf, he was the owner of Abyssinian slave Bilal Razila Talanhu. He used to throw Bilal Razila Talanhu on the hot sand under the burning sun with a rock on his chest and leave him there to die for no reason other than his insistence upon Islam. He tried his best that he should give up the religion Islam. Being a poor slave, he tried to pressurize him. Bearing the torture with patience, he used to repeat Ahad, Ahad. Ahad means Allah is one. So one day, when Abu Bakr saw him that he was persecuted so badly, he brought him from his owner and set him free after seeing how badly he was being treated. Now, the Muslims of pure Arab blood were also subject to maltreatment from the Quraysh. The uncle of Usman bin Affan, Razila Talanhu, he used to tie him in a mat of palm leaves and set fire under him. The mother of Musab bin Umair, after finding out about his conversion, put him on starvation. That means she did not give any food to him so that and expelled him from her house. Initially, he used to enjoy a luxurious life. Now, Musab bin Umair was from a very good family, enjoying all the luxurious life. But in aftermath of torture, he faced his skin got badly burned and his face assumed a horrible physical appearance. So he bare everything with patience. Another victim of Quraysh torture was Ammar bin Yasir, a very well-known companion of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, a freed slave of Banu Makhzum. He, along with his mother and father, were amongst the early convert and were thrown in hot sand and beaten mercilessly. Ammar was at times thrown upon embers. The Prophet ﷺ used to pray for them, saying, "Be patient, O family of Yasir." So Prophet ﷺ used to pray for them. So when you add some quote or reference in your answer, if it is relevant, it add up to your knowledge. And he said, "Be patient, O family of Yasir, you will verily find your abode in paradise." Now you can see what we are doing in this answer. The question is about what were the difficulties. So we are writing about each companion and describing very briefly the difficulties that they faced. If we will just summarize and do not describe the difficulty, then it will not be the knowledge part and it will not move up to level 4. Yasser, the father of Ammar, eventually passed away due to repeated torture. Sumayya, his mother, was killed when Abu Jahl pierced her through the stomach, earning the title of first woman martyr in Islam. So Sumayya, who was Sumayya? She was the mother of Ammar bin Yasir, and she was given the title of first woman martyr in Islam. Hazrat Shoaib Rumi, a free slave of Abdullah, accepted Islam under the influence of Ammar bin Yasir. He was beaten so much he fell unconscious. Later, when he tried to migrate, the Quraysh asked him to give all his property, which he did. Another important companion was Abu Faqih Aflah, was a slave of Safwan bin Umayyah. He accepted Islam with Bilal Razila Talanhu, and Safwan he asked people to drag him across sand after he tied him. Safwan saw a dirty insect and asked Faqih to declare it as his god. He refused and was strangled severely. Hazrat Lubaina was a slave of Umar Razila Talanhu who would beat her until he was exhausted, saying, "I have not stopped of pity, but only because I am tired." Hazrat Zubair bin Awam, the fifth convert, was wrapped in a burning mat, forced to inhale smoke by his uncle. Khabbab bin Arat was another victim. The Meccan would pull his hair and make him lie on burning sand with a big rock on his chest to prevent him from escaping. He was placed on hot sand with a stone on his back to prevent him from moving. So we should add at least 7 to 8 names of the early converts and explain them. You can find this material in different books like Hamad ibn Nishad, Nigat Bajwa, or there are many other books, but you must be targeting your question. What is the question? What is the demand of the question? Okay. Now, in the end, even the women converts like Zunaira and Nadia were not spared. Zunaira completely lost her eyesight after her master hit her in the eye with an iron rod. Just imagine with a hot iron rod. The converts were dragged across hot sand, thrown into animal enclosure, and subjected to cruelty. Despite this, the early Muslim had a very firm belief and faith. They remain steadfast. They showed courage and patience in response to the torture. Now, what did they show? You can target here the B part question. They showed courage and patience in response to the torture. Abu Bakr Razila Talanhu used his wealth to free as many slaves as possible. In the light of such persecution, the Prophet ﷺ advised his followers. Now, finally, when Prophet ﷺ saw that these persecution are increasing day by day, he then told them to conceal their faith, to hide their faith. He decided to meet them secretly. If you remember, they used to meet in the house of Arqam, okay, to meet them secretly, and avoided any sort of open confrontation. At this stage, that would have been harmful to the cause of Islam. So, this is all about the persecutions faced by the followers of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, I will be just discussing the B part with you, and I'll guide you how to attempt the B part. The B part is, what can Muslims in modern times learn from these persecutions? Now, what Muslims learn, your focus should not be on describing the persecution like what Bilal faced, but what we learn. So you can say that Muslims learn today, Muslims of today learn different lessons from these persecution, that they faced them with great patience. We will identify the qualities, the characteristics, what they showed. Number one is patience. Number two is steadfastness. Like Bilal Raziallah Ta'ala anhu was dragged in the hot sand, but he never renounced his religion. Following his example, Muslims today living in a non-Muslim country, or like you can name any country like India, France, any of the European country where the Muslims are not allowed, or the Muslim ladies are not allowed to wear hijab. So you can say that Muslims should remain steadfast, follow the example of the followers of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They were never revengeful, never cursed them, and were never involved in any uh, type of anger. Rather, they showed patience. So this patience will develop a feeling of sympathy in the heart of the non-believers, and they will be ready to understand the message of Islam. This behavior of the Muslim will help them in propagating Islam rather than making Islam a religion of terrorists, right? Or you can, in this one reason, you can give another reason, that following the example of, you can talk about um, Zunaira, that she was a slave, she lost her eye, and was never cursing herself that why she accepted Islam. So, following this example, Muslim should always remain determined in their belief, and with their overall kind and sympathetic behavior, they can prove to the world that Islam is a religion of peace, and they should remain steadfast. If there would be need, they could hide their religion, perform their prayers secretly, and there is no need to show it to everyone. If it is at the cost of their life, they can, like Prophet ﷺ allowed these Muslims to conceal their religion. So Muslims today also, if they are facing such circumstances, they can hide their faith even if needed. Okay. So coming to another B part question, drawing from from this account by which we mean the A part, in which we have written the persecution faced by the followers, what advice could be given to the modern Muslims now living in fear of persecutions? So we can talk about the people living in Palestine, people living in um, countries like, as I told you, in Europe or other countries. What advice can we give them? We can give them the advice that they should follow the example of the followers of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who were the true example, who showcased all their, through their acts, the respect, and they were never revengeful, never cursed anyone. They were not involved in any kind of terrorist activities. So what advice we can give? We can give the advice to follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in their life. And if the conditions are not good, they can hide their faith, but they should not give up the religion Islam. Okay, and then you can evaluate that this behavior of the Muslims will help in spreading the message of Islam rather than proving it as a narrow-minded religion, right? So this is all for the persecution faced by the followers of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And inshallah, see you in the next video. We will be following the timeline, and this was about the persecution of the followers. Then we will move to the 5th year of prophethood, about the migration to Abyssinia. Have a good day, beta. Allah Hafiz.